Hey, welcome. Welcome back to the Inder Bains show. Here we are, episode 5. Like I promised that I would bring a guest on, and I've talked about this person a couple of times already in the previous episodes. Here he is, Dr. Manjit Singh.
Suriya call ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ
There you go. He says that's what you call. So Manjit, I've known him since he came, what, in 96 you moved
yeah
here?
yeah
Yeah, I've known him. It was weird. Like I remember when I first met you, I guess it was the first time you came to the Gurdwara when we were on 69th Street. I still remember when we were in the basement at the Langar Hall. I'm sitting along this wall. You're sitting across from your dad. Your dad gets your hand, walks you over to me, and that's how we introduced, basically. I still remember that vividly. And I'm like, wow. And that's how I've known you since then. Yeah. This is my little brother. Even though he's my doctor, he tells me to do stuff about this shit, but I'm the big brother, so it's still me.
it's true, you gotta respect that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, Majid, you want to give a little background of what kind of doctor you were?
I'm not a doctor. I just treat this guy for information I find on Mr. Google.
Yeah.
I am a geriatric doctor. I also do family medicine also. So, I see young people, but mostly I see the elderly.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of attracted to that because I think we wanted to just take care of our parents and stuff also.
Yeah.
And we do live in Pennsylvania. It's one of the biggest geriatric populations.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pennsylvania is unique like that. There's especially when you get outside of Philadelphia area and you go to like the rural area, like the other counties, it's very different. It's very unique. I don't know how much you've traveled, but like when I go towards Buffalo, so from where we are, I don't take the 476,
Okay.
right? I don't take that. We take Route 30 to 283 in Harrisburg. From there, we take Route 15. It's all the back.
Okay.
Remember, like the one time we went for Lucky to Erie County
Yeah.
for his thing.
Yeah.
We take the back roads, dude. It's scenic. It's beautiful. The people
Yeah,
are
it is
very
beautiful.
nice. People are extremely nice.
Yeah.
Not like the Philly people, not like Delco. Even though that's where we're from.
You gotta be tough.
Over there, you gotta be tough. You gotta have a thick skin over there. Not out this way. So this way, yeah, it's pretty cool, pretty
Yeah.
laid back.
Yeah, no, no. Western Pennsylvania, like it's very rural.
Yeah.
In the fall time, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
so in the winter time too, because it'll be just like all big blanket of snow kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but we drove out to Erie. We went all the way across whole Pennsylvania, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That was a nice ride. Actually, the
Yeah.
four of us, me, you, Sunita, Marinder.
Yeah.
That was a great ride going up there. I had a great time going up there just because I don't know why, but it was more relaxed going up there. It wasn't like a rush or whatever, even though, we had to catch up to them for his event. I liked both days when we were out there. It's pretty neat. Yeah. Let me ask you. So, what do you think? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to throw you off guard or anything. What do you think in regards to with Robert Kennedy and his stuff with this vaccine stuff? How it's what he says it's like overused or whatever, especially in children, I guess. What's your take on that?
I think most of the medical community believes in vaccines. Well, first of all, if I'm your first official guest here,
Yes, you are.
if you're giving me 25,000 for an episode, what are you gonna give the next guest? I'm not getting 25K.
I have no comment.
All right, so I think one of the things that the general population that we're not really taught in school is the age of people, like how long they're living, right? The life expectancy has gone up. It used to be in like the 50s, 60s. Now it's up into the 70s, 80s. In like 100 years ago, the life expectancy was low because your infant mortality was very low, meaning a lot of the kids died. Like if you listen to our parents, like they're gonna know people who had kid that died
Yeah.
like in infancy or in the first couple of years. In the back in the day, you lived out to like in your early 20s. Like if childhood diseases didn't get you, if pneumonias didn't get you, if trauma or some type of accident didn't get you, and you were in your 20s, you're most likely where you're gonna live a long time. You weren't gonna die off at like 50, 60 years old.
Okay.
So the average comes down when the infant mortality goes low. So if one person lives to 100, one person lives on to 1 year old only, what's your life expectancy as an average? 50, right?
Yeah.
So, but truly, those numbers don't make sense because one person just died at 1 year old. The other person, lived all the way to 100.
Right.
So it's not like people are living longer. It's just that people are surviving more too.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things that led to decrease in infant mortality is vaccines. When vaccines came out, that's one of the biggest things that helped children.
Okay.
So measles, mumps, rubella. Now the biggest thing is RSV. So there's another vaccine that's coming out for RSV, which I don't think Robert F. Kennedy is not really fond of. So I'm not.
Okay.
Sometimes he says stuff that makes sense, but most of the time I don't think he's really basing it in scientific fact.
Only reason I asked that was one way I look at it is that, all right, so dad, right? He passed away in '04, right? Remember he had cancer and everything, but also he was diabetic, so he was on medicine or whatever, right, for his diabetes. But then I look at Baba, my grandfather, right, dad's dad. He just died on New Year's, right? And he was 95, but the difference, he never took medicine, right? Baba, he never took any medicine. And I remember like this one time when he was at his house in West Philly. Oh, sorry, not there, but when we were in India back in 2013, 2014, I was with him. I just remember we were having dinner, and he asked for chili powder, right? The loud minutes he asked for it. He put like he put like 3 spoons extra on top of already there. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, what? He's like, this makes me healthy. I'm like, what are you talking? What? Don't you sweat? And he goes like, no, 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 no. And they're no, no, you don't know. And like he used to read these books at the library on Philadelphia Free Library on 40th Street. He used to read these books, and he would understand what foods to eat and what to do. So basically the chili powder he was eating is a medicine, because instead of taking a Tylenol for a headache, he'd have that, and that would take his headache away. And like I was like, wow. I mean, and then also he also kept this healthy lifestyle, not eating junk. Once a week he would eat something like fried chicken or something like KFC or whatever it was. But the rest of the 6 days of the week, he'd watch what he was eating and stuff like that. So I look at and I think about those things where dad on medicine, everything, and gone at the age of 48, Baba 95. And then I look at my other grandpa, mom's dad. He passed away, I think he was 75 or 77. Again, he also passed away with cancer, but then again, he was diabetic, and he was on dad was on the that metformin.
Metformin.
Metformin, sorry,
Yeah.
metformin, yeah. And Papa he was on, yeah, he was doing the shots or whatever. So that's why, like, when I started thinking about these things, like, when I really deep thoughts into it, sometimes I'm confused if it's right or wrong.
Right or wrong versus, you mean like
Like,
taking
if
medications
we're
or having a disease?
no, just like the medication, like, is it really like now with Robert Kennedy coming out, like the last year and a half, like him talking or whatever, it gets me thinking too, like, man, maybe he is right. Like, maybe like the pharmaceutical companies have added more chemicals to it to keep Americans, or people that live here in America, down or whatever, versus like in Europe. So for example, like, getting away from medicine, in Europe or even Canada, when they produce food, let's say, like their macaroni and cheese over there, they use different chemicals versus what we use here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're not allowed to use food coloring or whatever, but we are very rich in food coloring,
Yeah.
whether it's the red dye or the yellow dye or whatever they're called. Yeah. So like those things I start thinking about, like, especially when he came on the scene about a year and a half ago, or 2 years, whatever. Like, it just starts triggering your mind, like, man, maybe he is right, that pharmaceutical companies and these big food companies have started doing things a certain way where they're testing us out as dummies. And I'm sorry, sorry to say that
Yeah.
way.
No, I think here's the thing. US is a lot more profit driven than healthy lifestyle driven. These companies put in preservatives, dyes. Put in dyes why? To make the food look appealing, right?
Yeah,
Otherwise, they don't need to put dye in.
right, right,
Why do they need to put in preservatives? To have a longer shelf life so things don't go to waste. Longer shelf life is more profit to their company.
right.
And a lot of these companies are traded on Wall Street. they have investors, so they have to have a profit. They're not doing this for the goodness of the public health, right? They're doing it for profits.
You know,
So the Europeans have a lot more rules and they're a lot more stringent. And I mean, I don't know the particular rules, but it does seem like they have a lot more rules and a lot more restrictions over these health things. One of the biggest things that's coming out right now is the information, right? European Union has put in a lot of rules in who can sell your data, who has access to your data, and they're passing that stuff. They're prioritizing privacy of their citizens. US is not. Why? Because these companies are profit driven and they have their own strength in saying no, you don't need these rules, all this stuff, right? So I don't think the pharmaceutical companies are in the same bed as like the health and food industry,
okay.
right?
But there has to be some sort of ties.
Like what? What do you mean?
Well, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. They're not in the same. They're not in the same bed with each other. Yeah, pharmaceutical companies. They do it. Their business is much different than like Kraft or whatever.
I mean, the pharmaceutical company isn't saying, "Hey, Kellogg, put more preservative in so
Right.
I can sell this person more valsartan for their high blood
Right.
pressure."
Right.
You know, so I don't think that's happening. I think to a certain extent, like the U.S. citizen has to make informed choices, and but the problem is, in human nature, we want to go for the easiest thing, the fastest thing, the easiest thing. Right? So if there is a McDonald's down the street versus there is a farmer's market 2 hours down the other street. As kids, we're gonna go to McDonald's.
McDonald's. Yeah.
Even like if a person doesn't have a ride, they're not gonna go 2 hours away on a SEPTA bus,
Right.
right? So that's what they call about like the food gaps in the cities where they
Yeah.
don't have access to all that stuff.
Correct. Right.
So there's a lot of factors that go into play, and I'm not sure Robert F. Kennedy can solve all that. But you know, like the preservative stuff, yeah, maybe that is not a good thing.
Yeah. Like so. Gojit went to him and his family. They went to Italy, right? And I think they were there for like 10 days or something, visiting his in-laws over there. And he was telling me when they got back, they were telling me, man, they ate. So they ate pasta and everything else. But they like you eat pasta here, whether you go, I mean, Olive Garden. I know it's not true. They
Olive
say,
Garden's awesome. I don't know what he's talking about. They're breadsticks,
yeah.
man.
Look, I like chicken Alfredo. I love that. I love that dish. But anyway, like he was saying, they were telling me they went there and they never got full at all. All the pasta, all the food they ate. When they come here, like when I go to dinner with them, me and Kenner, we go to dinner with them. Either we go to Cheesecake or we go to Olive Garden or we go to some of these restaurants. When we eat, man, we're full, like always. And he was saying there, it didn't touch
Yeah.
them anywhere. Like
Yeah.
I don't. It was something I was asking them because it was traveling, because they were walking, they were doing things, they're moving around a lot. He said no. So that's like another thing, like with Kennedy speaking up, and then those things come up. Like, man, like I know people that traveled like that, and they eat whatever, and they seem perfectly fine. And over here, like you can eat whatever, and you'll feel full no matter. Like once you eat, if you don't make it at home and you go outside and eat, with all the preservatives, like
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah, I mean, I guess the ingredients like in Italy, France, Spain, they're a lot more fresher.
yeah,
Again, here it's just mass produce everything, get it on the shelf, get the profit.
right,
I mean, even in India, like if you're independent, you're getting your own saag
yeah,
from
correct.
from it does taste different.
Yeah, I mean you're right on the corporation stuff. Like they're about profits and stuff. There was one thing I was thinking about this morning. I was driving to work. Um, like one of the biggest things here in this country, if you think about it, everybody wants the minimum wage. Not everybody, but I guess most people want the minimum wages to be raised up to $15. Right now, I think it's like $7. Want it to $15, and it's not happening. The government doesn't want to go the high because everybody's afraid inflation's going to go up. The cost of milk, the cost of eggs, the cost of bread, the typical things that we buy at home, the prices are going to go up. Even though they're already up right now, they believe it's going to go up even further. But like I look at it, I was thinking about this morning and I really thought hard about it. It's yes, the costs have gone up. Why? Is it really because I'm paying you $15 an hour? That's why it's going to go up? Or is it because the corporations, these big companies, are trying to keep it, they want to make enough money so they keep it on the reserves or whatever? Like I look at it that way. I don't think it's because I have to pay you $15, $20 an hour to work at my factory producing milk or whatever it is, right? Is going to make the prices go up. I think it's more so the fact that these corporations, they're holding money in reserves, like like McDonald's, for example, right?
Yeah.
McDonald's is a fast food joint. Yeah, when it first opened up, sure, it wasn't really supposed to be. It was supposed to be a part-time job for school, high school students or senior folks, whatever. And you get paid the $6, $7 an hour, but it was supposed to be a starting ground, especially for students. But nowadays, you look at the McDonald's, especially in the cities, you have adults working there, and it's not cutting it out for them. Sure, fine. I look at it as that McDonald's, they knew they're going to get lawsuits, right? And look how many lawsuits they've gone through because the coffee cup was too hot or it kind of spilled or whatever, and the person right there sues the shit out of them. What they're doing is that, okay, because they've been taking so many lawsuits, they take money from each McDonald's, especially when they're opening up a new one, and they're taking the profits and they're putting in reserves. So they're trying to make more money so they could weather the storms. They're not looking at it more right. What you were saying earlier, they're looking at the benefit for themselves so they could weather any storm. They're not actually looking at it from the human aspect or the moral or the ethical aspect of it,
Yeah.
trying to raise their people up and
Yeah.
get them better because at $15 an hour in today's age, it
Yeah.
doesn't cut it out for anyone.
But I mean, most companies don't. You can't really blame the companies either because they don't have any incentive of doing a better job, right? There's no incentive for McDonald's to stop frying the fries, right?
Right.
That's why when we live in a society, we need the government as the person in between of corporation taking advantage of the citizens and the citizens having their rights. Because us and individuals against big corporations, I'm not picking on McDonald's. I'm just
Yeah, just in
yeah. I
general.
mean, we're nothing to them, right? Yeah, you can get boycotts going, but that's all temporary too.
Correct.
It's but you need a big brother. You need a big brother who can toughen up to these companies and do the right thing for the public itself. That's where government comes in.
The government didn't come in when Tesla screwed me over my valuation, nor did Biden administration, nor the Trump administration.
Tesla's the whole thing, man.
Screwed my value up with my Tesla. I'm still pissed
Yeah,
about that. But
car stuff is so ridiculous. We could talk about that too, but
yeah,
to come back around, these companies, it's not like you're not affected by the bottom line of these companies. You are, because if you have retirement accounts, mutual funds, you're investing, all these companies are part of those mutual funds. And if
Yeah.
these companies aren't doing good, the whole market starts going down, and then all your retirement stuff goes down along with it too. If
Right.
then you start hitting a recession, then the prices start to go up. Everything is kind of connected, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you one person is removed from any of that. Unless you have your own farm and you're not interacting with the rest of the community, you're affected by everything.
That's true. That is correct. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's like a lot of these recalls for like, don't use the lettuce. It's there's E. coli on there.
Yeah.
Don't use the strawberry. Don't use the blueberries.
Right.
Like all this stuff ends up in Target, Walmart, and it all ends up in a freezer. Like we don't have a choice for that.
Correct.
So it's all connected, I guess. But
Don't shop.
how do you get rid of it? It's not vaccines though.
Don't shop there. Come out this way, and I'll take you to the farms, and we'll shop at the farms. Oh wait, you got farms up that way too.
Yeah, and the farms, I don't know how competitive the farm business is now because a lot of big corporations are buying up farms. Because the mom and pop farms aren't even there anymore. Then whoever's trying to survive want their crop to be. You need to have a good yield. So how much chemicals are they using? How much pesticides are they using? How much fertilizer are they using? I'm not an expert in that. I don't know, but
I don't know. I'm not an expert, but man, I'll take you up this way. I'll get you some fresh milk. You want some fresh cow milk, dude?
no, probably has listeria on there.
Nah. Pwede to ah. Sorry, Jackie out there. Everybody's
No, we changed now.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
The way things are. Yeah.
And things are so complicated that there's no simple solution to any of this. I know there are like really good articulate politicians who do understand a lot of this stuff and they do want barriers in place to kind of protect the public. I think we kind of have to do our own research about that.
And I don't know how much you look into the politics part of it. There are people on both sides that want to do good for the people. I mean, in the sense of what we're talking about, to protect the people from big corporations trying to take take the people like you and I over. Gosh, I'm trying to remember the gentleman's name from he's from the Midwest. Can't remember his name. Handsome dude, Republican. He comes out hard on these credit card companies I was listening to one day. He grilled the crap out of Visa and MasterCard about monopolizing the whole system.
Oh yeah, because they took over Discover too, right? Somebody took
Oh,
Discover.
Capital One did.
Capital One. Yeah.
Well, Capital One bought out Discover. However, Capital One, only reason I know this because Blazina works there. Capital One is actually getting away from Visa and MasterCard.
Okay.
Well, I think they're Visa only. They're going to get rid of Visa now, and they're only going to have Discover as their primary merchant or whatever that is. Yeah. But this guy really grilled. And I've seen him on other videos, C-SPAN and, Instagram and stuff like that. He'll pop up. And like he really drills um these companies when they come in for these committee meetings or whatever, and he really beats them up like literally, and he's on point. I'll send you videos. He's on point every freaking time, and like you'll see, you have AOC, you have um what's that lady from Texas? The African American lady, I forget her name. She's up and coming too, apparently. You'll see them talk and they'll grill, but sometimes like when you're listening to them, like some of this, to me, I don't know about you, but to me, it doesn't seem like they're not making sense. But this gentleman, when he grills them, like it's like on point, and the Visa president or whatever, the CEO, the guy has no really true response, and he grills him on that. How the heck are you the CEO and you don't have an answer for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are fine, and the company send a person there to kind of take up the verbal beating. But does
Yeah.
it lead to policy change? That's the thing.
That's the big thing, yeah, and that's true.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can put on the show of all this stuff, but if it doesn't lead to policy change, and it's the same old stuff, then I don't know what good
That,
is
I
it?
think, and I think that's where it all gets lost at. Like you'll have those good folks that are trying to do like get them, but the media is so focused on like today, like right now, their focus is whatever Trump's doing, right? Anything that Trump does, rather, he stepped outside for a moment, they grill him on that or whatever. Like, or either they're going after him or they're going with him. The media, because that's the biggest source of receiving information right now, they don't highlight these people that are actually trying to do the right work for the folks that live here in America. And it's kind of messed up in that sense because Fox, whether it's Fox, MSNBC, or CNN, the top three networks out there. Like today, I don't know if you read it. You're probably busy at work. I didn't see it either. Like I saw the headline: Supreme Court ruled that something about Trump with some of the policies he's trying to do. The federal courts cannot keep blocking or something like that. They said. I don't know the details. I'm sure MSNBC, CNN were having a meltdown. Oh, this is going to screw up the country, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's like nonstop with them. And like the folks that are trying to do good work or whatever, they don't get the attention. And then, like, to what you're saying, like, is it making any changes on the corporate level? No, it's not because nobody's speaking up about it as much. That's
Yeah.
because corporations are only going to change if there's enough people to speak up.
If it hurts the bottom
If it
line.
hurts their pockets, then they're going to do something.
Yeah.
But how's that going to happen? No noise is being made. Keep going with it.
Yeah.
But if something happens, if noise is made and it starts hurting them, then they'll start changing. No noise is going to be because the media doesn't let the noise come out. It's kind of the world we're living in right now.
It's a crazy world, man.
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
Second, you've increased the swipe fees consistently in the last few years. You've raised them, even as your network has expanded, even as your profit margins have gone up. You've raised the swipe fees. And in terms of competition, you are paying competitors not to enter the market. The DOJ lawsuit says that you threaten retailers with staggering financial penalties. That's a quote, staggering financial penalties if they use a competitor, and you're paying Apple and Square and others not to compete in your market. You've got 80% market share, and you are paying off would-be competitors not to come into the market while you charge people like Mr. Callahan, who knows how much more than big entities like Walmart. I mean, this is just classic collusive monopoly behavior. And your testimony is you can't accept any more competition. I agree with one thing that my colleagues down the dais have said, which is that this is not a sustainable situation. It is not sustainable. This has to change. 1.17 trillion in debt, this has to change. And I'll just end with this, Mr. Chairman. I thought one of the best proposals that the President-elect Trump, made during his last campaign, his most recent campaign, was to cap the interest rates of credit cards. So we could do that. We could do this and that. I think it's a great idea. I don't know why 30%, 30% interest rate should be charged on debt like this. I don't understand it. And I don't understand why you won't accept the smallest modicum of competition when it comes to these retailer fees. And I'm just here to tell you, this will not stand. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Holy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just on that point about Visa and MasterCard being successful businesses, I think you figured it out, haven't you? I mean, what's your profit margin, Ms. Kirkpatrick?
It's circa 50%.
Mr. Sheedy?
Slightly higher.
It's higher than 50% profit margin?
Slightly higher than MasterCard, yes.
Yeah, that's incredible. 50% profit margin. I mean, that's absolutely unbelievable. What's the answer to the Walmart question, by the way, that Senator Welch posed to you? What's Walmart's interchange fee that you negotiate with them?
I don't have it with me today.
You don't have any idea whatsoever? Is it higher or lower than 2.5%?
Walmart negotiates their rates based on the business that they do with us.
Meaning they're big. They're really big. They're gigantic. So they get a better deal than Mr. Callahan or most small businesses in Missouri. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, Senator, we have volume discounts that we offer to some merchants. I suspect Walmart is one of them. And, I don't believe that it's commercially unreasonable to get an arrangement where in exchange for more volume, a merchant can qualify for lower rates?
Well, I'm sure it's not commercially unreasonable for Walmart, or certainly it's in their financial interest and in yours, but I doubt it's in Mr. Callahan's financial interest. And my question to you, Mr. Callahan, is when you've got Walmart and other major competitors getting charged much less than you are, why in the world would you stick with these guys? I mean, why is it that small businesses continue to use Visa and MasterCard when you're getting charged so much more?
It's in my opinion, it's a matter of convenience for the customer, and customers matter to our business.
Maybe is it because that Visa and MasterCard are effectively monopolies? They control 80% of the market.
Certainly part of the
80% of the market.
Did you catch any of the NBA stuff?
I watched some of the stuff just on YouTube kind of thing, or just to catch a glimpse of it at the gym or something. But
Did you catch any of the finals? No.
I watched some of the games when Indiana won. I watched those highlights. I think I wanted the underdog to win Indiana.
Okay.
And I was like Reggie Miller. So
Yeah.
He's from Indiana. OKC, I think they did deserve this one. They're a young team. They were there a year ago, right? And they choked.
OKC?
Yeah. Was it a
Maybe.
year ago or 2 years ago?
I think, yeah, a year ago. Yeah.
And they couldn't finish out games. And they almost lost to, who was it? Jokic?
Jokic?
Yeah.
Denver?
Denver. Yeah, it was a
Nuggets, yeah.
They almost lost to them. They almost started choking at the very end, giving up a lot of leads.
Yes.
And they finally closed them out.
Yeah.
And, then I think they started getting their bearings. And then Indiana just had a different game plan, and they kind of shocked them too. I think Indiana had a very good chance. Yeah, it was interesting. But I think OKC deserved it.
My personal opinion, I don't know about yours, but I like this finals
Yeah, definitely.
versus the stuff we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
One, there was two fresh teams.
Yeah.
New. So you didn't have, you didn't have Steph Curry, you didn't have LeBron, you didn't have those faces coming back to the playoffs, right? So you got something new. The other thing I really liked watching these matches between the two teams, dude, they were gritty.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
they were fighting. They
Yeah.
stole. This was the only playoffs I've seen there was actually defense being played.
Did you see TJ McConnell?
Yeah.
He poked everything.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
He did
gritty.
everything, dude.
That's the one thing I stopped watching the NBA a lot because it's just back and forth, back and forth. No one plays defense.
Nobody plays
I like the finals when the Celtics were playing another team, and Celtics prided themselves of keeping them under 90.
Yep.
Under 80 points. Now that's just, I don't know if that's just the way NBA is now, is that you want that high intensity, high octane, back and forth, shoot.
Yeah.
But after a while, it kind of gets boring.
It gets boring. Like in my last episode when I went live and I watched I was watching the second half of Game 7, right? So I didn't realize Halliburton had gotten hurt, right? Obviously, when I'm watching it, when I'm live, then I realized, wow, he got hurt. Oh shit, that doesn't look good. And obviously, it was his Achilles. That for whatever Indiana in that second half, they kind of screwed it up because other than McConnell, Pascal Siakam, the other players, they either got nervous because all they were doing, either they weren't taking a shot and they're losing the ball, or they were taking like the threes. They weren't grinding it out. And then on defense, McConnell, Siakam, they're doing the best they can. Nesbitt, they're trying to do the best they can. OKC was overwhelming because now you obviously sensed the vibe right away, what was going on, and OKC just smelled it. They smelled blood right away. Like, okay, these guys they're not with it now. But prior to that, dude, every play just about was challenged between these two teams in every game. And if you look at it, if you look at the scores, no team blew each other out. Indiana or OKC, it was relatively close at the final score. I think the largest lead may have been, it was in game 7, I think, by 15 or whatever it was, or 12. But that was the largest lead. And some of these other games, like 20, 25, Austin, I think they were down like 20 or 30, whatever, something like that. But yeah, like these two teams, they really fought it out. And did you catch Indiana and New York play?
Yeah, I did watch a lot of those. Yeah.
I mean, at the time, I was actually rooting for Knicks, even though I shouldn't be because I'm a Sixers guy. And I know you are. I actually like Jalen Brunson. I actually like him. Yeah, he has Philly tie with Villanova, him and Josh Hart. But they fought.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, they fought. Yeah. That was a great, even though they went 4-2, Indiana's favor. But still, like, it kind of brought the old school ball back a little bit instead of this shoot anywhere.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
I feel like the NBA has turned into us. Like, we don't play defense. We save our energy for offense. So back when we used to watch the NBA, I want to keep bringing up Celtics because Kevin Garnett was playing top level defense. That's when the score used to be like 90 to 80 something, 90 to 70. You can remember like the tough shots that they made. Now, like, the score is like 120s, 130s.
140, yeah.
Yeah, so like, it's like, who did what?
Yeah.
Like, that's like almost 2 games played. And I don't know. You can't keep track of like the big plays.
Right. Yeah, so I put this on the podcast, I was telling people the same thing, that we're from that school where, like, we watched AI.
Yeah, yeah.
And we saw him put his whole body on the line. Like, that's how we looked. And that's what you looked up to. Him, Kobe, all those guys back then.
I didn't look up to Kobe, but okay.
But that's...
I know he passed away, and he's actually from the Philly area, but, like, he broke our heart when in the finals.
He only lived like 10 minutes from your house. You know that, right? Dude, what the hell? Right down Western.
Iverson's our guy.
Iverson was. I agree with you that. Yeah, I agree with you on that. You know, Iverson, I was listening to this the other day. You know when he did that step over Tyronn Lue?
Oh, yeah. That was so natural. He didn't go out of his way to step over him. He needed to go to the other side of the court, and he did it. All these other guys are trying to recreate this thing. Like, they turn around to step over the guy, they go to angle. It's not natural at all.
No, and that's what Iverson was saying. He said it on one of these podcasts. And Tyronn Lue, he was with... what's his name? Steven Jackson, and Matt Barnes.
Matt Barnes. Okay.
They're on their show, and they brought it up. I think wasn't it this week or last week that play had occurred back in 2001. It was like one of these days, and they're remembering that day. Iverson said, so they asked Iverson about it. What went into that moment, and how do you feel about it? Iverson, he hates that moment. Because, yes, it was natural.
Yeah.
He just did it because he was so frustrated by Lue that, because Lue chased him everywhere.
Yeah.
He had studied him. Phil Jackson made him study every single move, what if he's going this way, what he's about to do. He knew everything on him. And Tyronn Lue, I didn't realize until they mentioned it. I didn't realize he didn't play till the second half with like maybe third quarter, 7 minutes ago or something like that. So he didn't play the first half either. But he really annoyed the shit out of Iverson. And that moment got created because, he put a stomping ground. But it was just in the moment he did it. It wasn't nothing.
No, I don't think he would. Yeah, I don't think he went. He didn't go out of his way to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And Iverson says he hates that moment. Yeah, but for me, that moment was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for a fan, that was like a stomping thing, even though They ended up losing.
Well,
the
that was a
series.
year where they were sweeping they had swept the whole.
The Lakers did.
The Lakers did.
The Lakers
And that
swept.
was the first game, and the Sixers like, no, you're not sweeping us. And they actually
Correct.
won the game in overtime. Though.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And
that was in L.A.
Yeah, in
That was
LA.
in L.A. They won.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was.
So that was our moment, and then we lost. That's okay.
The folks that are listening, that's what we're so used to watching. Person, the way he fought, Shaq, Kobe, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce. Who's Paul Pierce's guy? Remember who played with Paul Pierce on
Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett.
No. Way before them. Anthony Walker. Remember, they used to give us a
yeah.
problem. Boston used to give the Sixers a problem with Anthony Walker. But yeah, those guys. LeBron didn't come into what, 04, 05 or whatever? So he came later. But that's what we're used to watching. And those players. Yeah, this whole thing, I mean, I kind of blame Steph. Even though that's his skill. That's what makes him great. He could shoot the ball anywhere, him and Clay. And everybody started catching on to that. Who was that coach that you really liked a lot?
Mike D'Antoni.
Yes.
All he did was open.
All he did. I blame you.
James Harden played him.
Yeah.
And yeah, like James Harden's like, yeah, I don't blame deep.
One of these episodes, I was talking about a coach I couldn't remember, but that's the guy, Mike D'Antoni. That clown. Never thought even about defense. Never. Oh my God, that thing was so. Probably a nice guy. I don't know him. Maybe he is a nice guy. But man, that guy never thought about defense. It was so annoying. And he was on Phoenix. He was in New York. Was he on the Rockets?
Yeah, I think he was Rockets too, because that's where
Harden had him.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. But I blame him. I think he started this mess of going offense and no defense.
You know what I liked about it? Because that's when we were also doing fantasy leagues.
Oh yeah. That's right.
I would pick up a lot of the players from Mike D'Antoni's.
I do remember this. Yeah.
I was like, oh, they're gonna stack up.
Yeah. Oh, I do remember. That's why. Yeah, you were really into that. Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah. What do you think about Anthony Edwards?
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. I mean, he's solid.
Yeah.
But obviously, you need a team, to win.
They beat the Lakers. They beat Luka and LeBron at the same time.
I don't think Lakers had that much chemistry right now with Luka.
Do you think they'll have anything next season?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they need good coaching too. So.
But who's your coach right now? No, it's not him. It's not your soccer player, is it? You know what I'm talking about? Nash. It's not Steve Nash, right? No, I'll have to look it up. Sorry, guys. Can't remember. He's a doctor. I still have a memory loss. Still dealing with it. But you think they'll do well? What do you think about Dallas? Now,
man, they're starting to stack up too now.
Now, obviously they got rid of Luka.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, that'll never come out. But yeah, they got rid of Luka. They just drafted yesterday that big college kid.
Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Kyrie signed a 3-year agreement.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah, he just signed a 3-year.
Yeah.
And they got Anthony Davis. They got him still signed. Well, that was part of the trade. You think they'll?
Yeah, I think they're in the contender as if everybody stays healthy.
That's true because this year they did. Yeah, this year they all got injured at some point, and
then you need really good, solid role players who can shoot threes and spread out the.
Well, OKC and Indiana, they had during their run, they actually had a deep bench. So, you didn't really just rely on the first 5 or 6 players. They had the bench to come out, and that's why they were able to proceed and really had that success that they both teams had. So they're going to, some of these teams are going to have a stronger bench.
Even their big guys, everybody can shoot. Everybody shoots.
On whose team?
On OKC.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody shoots.
Yeah, everybody shoots. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they got the jump shot. Yeah.
I mean, before it used to be like Chris Bosh who could shoot. That's right.
Right.
Or Jermaine O'Neal could shoot.
Yeah.
But everybody else was like crash the board.
Now let's bring it home. What do you think about our team here?
We're a little lost. Yeah.
Did he have surgery yet? Joel. I don't know if he had it yet.
I'm not sure.
You know what the surgery was supposed to be like?
Which one? For the knee?
Hip? No. They were supposed to for the knee. I guess it's for his leg. They were going to break a bone in the hip or something like that.
Okay.
And it's supposed to. They believe that's the best way of treatment for him, but it's supposed to keep him out all year. So I'm not sure. I think he already had it because I haven't heard or seen anything. But they were supposed to do this surgery on him, and it's supposed to keep him out for a whole year.
Yeah, I didn't catch up on that.
Yeah, so I don't know, dude. I'm just so lost because I wasn't in nothing against Paul George. I'm not a big fan of. Sure, he did good stuff in Indiana when he first came in to the league, but obviously I didn't. For me, again, it's more about defense. What do you do on D?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And he's not a defensive player. He went to LA with the Clippers, really didn't do much there. And then our GM, Daryl Morey, decides he's going to sign him last year. And obviously he got injured.
Yeah.
And this was in February, I think. I remember I'm driving to one of my appointments, right? And I'm listening on the radio. Paul George. You know, he has his podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Paul George on his podcast tells his audience that he's going to shut down his podcast for the next few weeks because he wants to focus on the season at hand because they want to make this run to the playoffs. The team was already in a disarray. It took him, season starts in November. We're in February. I think it was February. And it took him several months to realize that maybe I need to focus on my game, my skill for the team that's paying me.
Yeah.
So when I heard that I think that bothered me even more when I heard it on the radio and the WIP afternoon guys threw it on. I think that bothered me a lot more about Paul George. Again, nothing against him, but like, dude, what the hell? And I don't know if it's against him or Daryl Morey for even signing him because I don't think he was a good option.
You mean the podcast bother you? Like he
Just
kept
his
the
no, not the. I'm not on the team itself, but like it kind of sent a message out saying that he wasn't focused for the past couple of months for the team.
Fellas, it's no secret this season is up to this point, man. It hasn't been what we envisioned. I know my goal when I first signed with Philadelphia was to bring a championship to these amazing fans here. I still remain positive about that, and that is still the case and where I'm coming from. With that being said, though, I want to let the Podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body right, getting mentally right, and, you know, help this squad make a push towards our goal to finish the season out, give ourselves a chance to be in contentions to compete for a championship.
Yeah, I hear you. But they play 80 games, and I don't know what the
82.
82.
Yeah.
I don't know what the mindset of the NBA players is. Like, is first 40 games just let's see what goes, and then you turn it on the next 40 games, like after the All-Star game? Because if you go too hard, you get injured, then it sets you back. I don't know. There's a lot of other stuff they probably have to think about.
Okay, I'll agree with you to a point, but they're not the only ones. They're not the only players that have done this. There's players like Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Dwayne Wade, the old Dwayne Wade, AI, all these players, Iguodala, all these players. They've gone through 80 games, 82 games.
True.
There's nothing different. I mean, to me, it's just that their training is a lot different. And look, those guys like Iverson, if you listen to him, or even listen to the older guys like Barkley or whatever, the resources that they had versus what these NBA players have now,
yeah.
it's way different, dude.
Yeah.
They got their own buses and stuff. These guys were traveling on school buses, like the Barclays and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so like, but they hustled it out and they did everything for it. Where this generation is now receiving the rewards for it. But to me, they don't respect the game, like when you say that, because that's what was that, load management, right? The top players like LeBron and stuff, they shut themselves down and they're not going to play, especially like if it's a meaningless game. It wasn't meaning enough to him. But that bothers me about that because
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem in the NBA where fans come out to see a patient.
from a fan aspect,
A player. They come out and see a player and they don't play. And, you know, like Joel Embiid, they're resting him. And then that's not fair to that man either.
Exactly.
But then again, they don't want to get hurt playing back-to-back. And then you're out for the season, especially near the playoffs. Then the whole team goes down. You know, I don't know where the line is. Like,
well, here's the line. Here, Hallenberg, in Game 5, he had soreness in his lower leg. That's why they had lost that game. And Game 6, he was a game-time decision. And actually, Rick Carlisle was actually not going to go with him and let him sit on the bench. But it was at home. And their backs were on the wall, 3-2. And they play. Hallenberg opted to play, right? All right, turns out in his favor, he did perfectly fine, and maybe some soreness or whatever at the end of the game. I know during the game when he was sitting on the bench, they were icing him right away to calm down the inflammation. And but game seven, I mean, they were talking about everybody was talking about should he play or not, and he openly said it. His dad even said it was that it was his. He knew that there was a big risk if he played. There was a huge risk because he just played a lot of minutes in game six that he could really injure himself pretty bad. The way his legs were. But he also knew that if he doesn't play, that his team's going to hurt and they may lose the finals.
Yeah.
And you know it's obviously for Hallenberg and most of these players. It's hard to get back into the finals. You know, we've seen it with
Yeah.
Boston.
Oh, definitely.
Right? It's tough to get back. So respect to that. But he still chose at that moment. Now think about it. Like everybody's saying, I don't believe it, but everybody's saying this, and you know, the ESPN people and all these other analysts. He chose to play 5 minutes into the 5 minutes left in the first quarter, and he goes down, and he's done from there. But he took that shot because it meant for that moment for that team, because they worked up to that and he did what he had to do, and no regrets. Everybody complains, like these analysts, which I kind of blame them. The analysts are complaining now, well, he didn't look at the future. He didn't look for, because now he put Indiana, the whole team, in a disarray because the team was designed around him. And now him out of the picture, they got to figure out what they're going to do.
Like for game 7 or for the future?
No, for next season now.
Oh.
Because they are saying that because of his Achilles tear, he'll be out for the whole year next year. I don't think that's true. This is not
I
20.
thought it was like 6 to 9 months, but I'm not sure.
Do the math.
When did Kevin Durant come back? Did he come back the next season? I thought he did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he came back.
He came back. They usually come back around the All-Star season.
Yeah.
All-Star time. All-Star games time.
Yeah, which
when
is like
the games really matter whether you get into the playoffs or
yeah,
not.
that February is the time. Like right there. Yeah, like right in mid-February they'll be
Yeah.
back.
So yeah, I mean, game 7, do you play or not? You play, right?
Yeah.
But game 39 at home, back to back, do you play or not?
If you're
For Joel Embiid, who has a soreness in the knee.
okay, all right. So Embiid, we know he's had injuries and he's had those soreness in his knees or whatever. Maybe not. You play him or you don't. But somewhere, okay. So
And to that effect, like when you're saying like Halliburton went down, and then now analysts are saying that what the team is going to do, blah blah blah, right? In his absence.
Yeah.
So when for example, if Embiid doesn't play, they actually have a solid backup who can actually get numbers, who can get comfortable on the floor. And if for whatever reason Embiid goes down, you have at least a solid backup, right? So that's the advantage of not playing, giving the other guy some time and experience.
Back to Embiid real quick. Last season he played. They lost again, the second round, right? 2 weeks after the finals were over. He got a little break there, right? A little rest. The Olympics started. He played for the U.S. I'm not sure. I don't think it was ever revealed as to why, but Coach Kerr didn't play him as much. He played him not as frequent as he played LeBron or the other players. And he didn't
Anthony
play.
Davis, right? And
Yeah.
yeah.
Tatum didn't get to play as much either, and that might have been a personal thing. They apparently,
I didn't know that.
yeah, because Boston had beat them.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's what it was. Anyway, but so Embiid played in the Olympics. Then the season starting for the Sixers. About 2 months break. He should have gets in, and then once the season started, they already had announced he's not starting the season, and they weren't even opening up. The Sixers, the front office, they weren't even opening up to the public as to what is going on.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't even do his diagnosis, right?
Yeah, exactly. They were all hush hush about everything.
Yeah.
And then eventually Embiid gets in, plays. Remember that Christmas game? They dominated Boston. That was like a phenomenal match.
Yeah.
That
Oh
was
my gosh.
That was
yeah.
a great match to watch. But then after, that was the only game where you actually saw that, man, this team could be a threat with Embiid, Tyrese, Maxey, and Paul George. No, not Paul George. Who's the other guy?
Kelly Oubre was
Oubre.
there. Yeah.
Oubre. Yeah, because he was phenomenal in that game.
Yeah.
Because he plays hard defense. And with all of them in the mix, you saw, I noticed, oh, shit. Man, I was actually proud of this team. Like, wow. But then Embiid goes down again.
Yeah.
So I know you're saying, where do you draw the line? For Joel, okay, sure, the Olympics come. It's an opportunity to be on the biggest stage of the world. And even though he played for the U.S., he was also talking about playing for his home country in Africa. What's his home country? Is it Cameroon? No, whatever his home country is. He was trying to play for them as well.
It is Cameroon, right?
I think it is Cameroon, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. I think it is Cameroon. But he was trying to play for one of the island. I remember him. There was a commotion about this, but he played. I understand that, but dude, you also are being paid by the fans of Philadelphia that support you, that buy your jersey. You're getting revenue off of that. You're making money left and right from Philadelphia. No prep. No prep. So like, what the hell, dude? So I don't know if you heard if you heard the story. You know when Boston beat the Lakers?
When?
When they beat the Lakers?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
When
Yeah.
what was that? 7-6 games or whatever it was.
That was awesome.
Okay, yeah. No, it wasn't. But
Oh,
yeah.
with Paul Pierce?
Paul Pierce, KG, Rondo,
Yeah.
Allen. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rondo at that time with that wrapper on the back.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2 weeks later was the Olympics. Couple days later was the Olympics. And you can actually hear it in Chris Bosch's. Chris Bosch actually explains it very well. He articulates it really well during his retirement thing, his retirement ceremony. He basically said when Boston had won against the Lakers 3 days later.
Kevin Garnett or Chris Bosh?
No, Bosch.
Bosh.
Bosch.
What does he have to do with
Because he was in the Olympics team at that time.
for the Olympics?
For the Olympics.
Okay.
He was on the
yeah,
U.S. team.
Yeah, okay.
So Bosch got up in the morning at 6 a or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or whatever. He had gotten up and he thought to himself that he's going to prep himself early because he wants to be ready for the Olympics. He gets to the gym wherever Team USA is playing. He said he had just noticed Kobe was sitting there and he's wet. And he thought about it. I think he says he thinks about it. It wasn't raining or anything. And it triggered his mind that he had just practiced. He got into the gym at 4 a.m. 3 days later, I think he said 3 days later, after he had just lost to Boston.
Wow.
And he got into the gym,
Wow.
started training because of that. Now, if Joel is doing something like that,
Yeah.
okay, I'm all in. He ain't doing that.
Joel's got different knees, man.
He doesn't have the mindset.
He's got different knees. I'm making excuses for him.
He kind of reminds me of McNabb. Remember when McNabb got injured that one season and Jeff Garcia had to back him up?
Yeah.
You know what McNabb was doing at home?
I don't know.
He was eating 2 cheesesteaks. The guy grew like me.
Yeah.
And I remember there's so the only reason I know that is on WIP. I forget who was talking about it. This was a couple of years ago. They revealed it. One of the assistant coaches, Andy Reid, told one of the assistant coaches during one of the Eagles games, call Donovan and see what he's doing right now. Want to know because they were thinking of Donovan is not keeping up with his training and stuff.
Yeah.
Even though he was injured, they were worried about him because there was hope that Donovan will be back for the playoffs or something. And the assistant coach calls him, calls McNabb and see what he was up to. He was eating 2 cheesesteaks watching the game. What did the Eagles play?
At least he was watching the game.
That's what I think about Joel, dude.
You gotta find the good and stuff. I don't know, man. I mean, these NBA players, they're really assets. Just like the quarterback is an asset to a whole NFL team, right? And they want to protect the quarterback. Do you want to protect your center, who can shoot, who has moves but has bad knees, right? I don't know. I don't know where to draw the line. I'm not in the gym with them, so I got busted knees.
Yeah, but you're also.
And you do too.
Yeah, but I'm 42, and what are you? You're like 40. You're 39. 40 there, so Joel's not 40. The freaking guy's still in the early 30s.
And we're not getting paid $40 million.
No, and they got the best. They get the best treatment in the world.
Oh yeah, they had their trainers and
They got everything.
doctor, sports medicine.
They got cooks.
Yeah, man.
I rely on McDonald's and Taco Bell for my meals, and that guy has a cook. It's hard to do.
Yeah, they have the cooks, right? Yeah.
Well,
Oh man.
Yeah, so that's the NBA for you, I guess, with everything that's going on there. You looking for? What do you think about the NFL? You looking forward to this?
Oh yeah, man. We are good. We could be a dynasty now. I mean, we've been into the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 3 years, right?
Correct.
And we still have a strong group of guys, and they're all pretty young. I think we can be a dynasty. But NFL is so, you have one bad game and you're done. You got to be on the whole time in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
that's a good thing and a bad thing. But You got to be solid.
What do you think about Washington? Do you think they're a threat to the?
Man, they're a threat now.
They're a threat. Yeah.
Yeah, they were always like a team like you don't need to worry about them.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like the Cowboys.
Ever
now.
since they got a new owner, I think we want the old owner back.
Snyder.
The one who didn't treat his front staff right or anybody right.
Oh right. Yeah. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the NFL. So one thing about NFL is their calls, their penalties are a lot more consistent than the NBA. They can actually, their game can be slowed down. They can challenge. They have the 2-minute warning. And so I think they've done a very good job in trying to get the play right. As far as the NBA, there's just so much back and forth, and the refs are gonna miss some stuff. And whether it's purposely or it is just because it's just going so much back and forth, which one do you call, which one do you not call. I think they're starting to do that replay thing, you can challenge and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That makes sense, but it slows down their game a lot too. But the NBA foul calling, non-travel calling, I think is a problem.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. The NBA. That's everybody says it. It just seems like it's more of a rigged system in there with the referees, with the sports betting and stuff.
And they're not, and things like that have happened.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
The guy that was here in Westchester, remember that old referee?
I forgot his name. He hated Tim Duncan. That guy,
Yes,
right?
that guy. Yeah. And he finally came out and broke out and said, "Yeah, everybody's all in on it. All these referees trying to make money." Yeah, that's the NBA. NFL. I mean, I think. I do think the Eagles will go. They'll go back to the playoffs. Do they get to the Super Bowl? If I'm looking at it today, you look at the NFC. I don't think the Niners are a good team. I never thought they ever were. I'm sure they got it, but I don't think I'm not a big.
Where did Debo go? Is he still there, or did he go somewhere else?
No, I think he just got traded. He signed. Dude, I think he just signed with Washington.
That's right. He's with Washington.
Yeah.
Oh man, I hope he doesn't get in shape. Because if he does, he is.
He's a monster.
He's a monster.
He could be a monster, yeah.
He is.
I'm not.
Problem.
I wasn't a fan of Brock Purdy. I still ain't. I know the Niners bitched about when he got injured, when the Eagles won the first Super Bowl with Jalen Hurts. So I'm not a big fan of the Niners. And if I look at the NFC, the Lions, I want to see what they do. Only because they had a magical season last year, top team all season, and then now they lost a couple of their assistant coaches. I think they went to Chicago or something. So I want to see if the head coach and that team, that organization, can actually repeat or come even close to what they did. Because if they even come close to what they did as the last year, I think that's a success in itself. But that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing about the NBA versus the NFL is that NBA has so many games, you're not gonna watch all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
NFL, you have 16 games.
No, more.
17, 8, no, 18.
Yeah,
18.
it's an 18-week season.
But you have a bye week.
Yeah, so 17 games you're playing.
17 games,
Yeah.
right? So each one of them matter.
Yes, right, exactly.
Right? And each one of your touchdowns matter. Each one of your field goals matter.
Yeah.
Like you can remember that thing. Like the time,
Yeah.
somebody scored a touchdown
Right.
or an interception or a great tackle or a sack. You remember those things.
Yep.
With NBA, with going so much back and forth, it's like, who did what? And then you just look at stats at the end of the day. You're like, oh yeah, he got 39 points.
Yeah,
But-
exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy. I used to like the NBA because of so much. Like, oh yeah, like this is exciting. But now I think I don't know. Maybe I'm more older. Less is more. Like, look at the English Premier League or La Liga or
Yeah.
the European soccer. Like each one of those goals matter, and
Yeah.
it's not boring because you can see them. If you can figure out their strategy, how they're trying to build up the play, it's a lot more exciting.
Right.
The soccer is a lot more exciting.
So yeah. So now here, like, I don't know if you noticed, but like now people are tuning into soccer.
Yeah.
They're getting into it a little bit now. I know, like, when I used to listen to WIP in the morning, Angelo Cataldi and them in the morning show, man, they used to rip soccer apart. They didn't think of it as a sport, only because it was low score, 1-0, that's game, right? And to your point, because people didn't really pay attention to the strategy, the scheme to get to that score or whatever, how to build it up.
Yeah.
Because it just seemed like they're playing 90 minutes, 45 minutes each half, where there's passing the ball, kicking the ball, whatever. Once a shot, they want an opportunity to get to shoot or whatever. But the schemes of it is more exciting. But now people are, especially now with the World Cup coming to North America,
Yeah.
people are more intrigued into it.
Yeah.
You go to any of the games?
Which one?
There's
Here in U.S.?
Philly. There's a game this weekend. I think somebody was telling me they're going down to. I don't know what game it is, but it's a part of the World Cup matchup. Yeah.
I only go to games in Spain, dude.
Have you been?
Yeah, I went to a cup game
Oh, did you really?
where Leon and Messi played in the Copa del Rey, their local cup.
How far are you sitting up?
I was probably like in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
And it was a final with Luis Suarez was there.
Yeah, yeah.
Coutinho was there.
Yeah.
They all scored. It was like 5-0. It was
Oh
amazing.
wow. Who were they playing against?
It was
Must have been a weak team.
was it Villarreal or
Really?
no? It was another team. They were pretty good too. But they didn't score anything. But it was great. Like the atmosphere was great.
Yeah.
They actually played in Madrid because they
Okay.
needed a neutral stadium.
Okay, okay.
So we were vacationing there. Actually, I was just gonna go to like a regular game.
Right.
But that regular game was canceled because they ended up being in the cup game. 'Cause I wanted to see Messi play.
Okay, okay.
So this must have been like 8-7 years ago.
Have
when
you-
he was with Barcelona. So
Have you been to one of these games? The Union games?
I went to a Union game like 10 years ago, and the pace of the play and the intensity nowhere near it was like European. Maybe it changed now. We should probably go to a game.
So I got to go to the championship game. Was it a championship game or the semi? I forget what it was. New York. They were playing New York. I know this. So I had to go for work. We provided surveillance or something like that. I forget what it was, why we were there, but I think it was more surveillance. Yeah, to provide security and stuff like that. Like I think we had our comms truck there, the camera trailers down there, so we were providing more surveillance for Chester cops and whatever. So I got to be there. So it was me, one of my friends, Nark, who works with us, and dude, the environment, insane.
This is the Chester one?
Yeah, yeah, Chester one, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty small stadium compared to like.
No, it is. It
yeah.
is. It is a small stadium, yeah. But man, their fan base, the Union fan base, I forgot the name. Dude, there's a group of I'm trying to remember their name. There's a group. They're dedicated to the Union only, right? And there was these two individuals, nonstop, dude. The drums, they kept banging on the drums. 90 minutes straight, maybe like that 10-15 minute break during half, but they kept banging on the drums. And I remember when the Union had scored, like everybody erupted. It was like the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because other than like
Collective celebration is awesome.
yeah, other than like seeing that, like we've seen like for soccer purposes, you've seen it obviously in Spain, but like the most I've ever seen was the Sick Games or something like that, right? For soccer, this was insane. I love that, and yeah, we got to go down.
We got to go to a game in England.
That might be a little rough.
English Premier Leagues, because the general thing is, behind each goal,
Yeah.
is dedicated to the hardcore fans. Like
Okay,
whenever
yeah.
you go to a stadium, me and you probably don't want to sit right behind the goal. Okay. That's like the hardcore.
Yeah, that's right.
And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we probably don't want to sit there.
Okay, yeah.
Especially if you go with the families.
Right, yeah.
We want to go to like the sides. It gets insane, man. It gets so insane.
Yeah, I would love to. I want to go.
When I went, like they had flares and stuff.
Really?
At that time, when Barcelona scores, it was like, nah.
The fans were with the flares?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know how they got into the stadium like that, but yeah, they were like flares and stuff.
They don't have rules like America does.
Like those smoke pipe
Yeah.
things. Yeah, they had that.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
That's interesting. That wouldn't fly here.
Yeah, even like pregame, we actually missed a lot of the pregame stuff. But pregame, they do a lot of chanting, singing. It's like a collective thing.
Wow.
A lot more than like the NFL teams. Like
Okay.
Eagles are different, right?
Yeah.
Because we have our own great chant.
Yeah.
I know the Commanders do too, but I went
not
to a
bad.
game in their stadium and they weren't good. So,
Now, did you go to a Commanders game or Redskins game?
sorry, I went to Redskins.
Redskins game. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they should go back to the Redskins. I don't think they should be called the Commanders. That's stupid. I think that's dumb too.
No, we're trying to go forward.
Dude, they still have the same helmet color. The color is still red and white, whatever that red is.
Yeah.
It's still the same colors. What's different? They took the Indian off the helmet. That's about it. They didn't put a C on it.
I don't know. I like the Commanders.
Commies. That's what I call them.
Not good enough. We had to bring them down. See, when they weren't good enough, then nobody called them anything.
I still call them the Redskins. here and there, so it'll slip out of my mouth as the Redskins. Actually, you know what a good name would have been was the Washington football team. I think that was fine.
Washington football team, like generic thing.
Yeah, because that when they were doing this name change,
Oh, yeah.
they were trying to figure out what name to have, and before Commanders, they were just calling them the Washington football team.
I don't know. Commanders are cool. Like a lot of a DC area because of Commander in Chief. You know, Commanders. It makes sense.
I didn't think of that. Okay, you have a point there. I didn't think of that at all. Maybe that's why. But whatever. Maybe Trump wants to change that name. I don't know.
He's gonna buy an NFL team.
He'll put an executive decision on that. Sign it all.
To change the name again.
Yeah, let's see. But yeah, but going back to the NFL, I think the season's gonna be tough for the Eagles. I don't know if you look at the schedule; they got a tough schedule this year. Yeah, the second half is it's gonna be a grueling season. I think they'll come over. I think. Yeah, they should because they still like you said they have young guys that are doing great. Jalen Carter, like especially
Oh
Jalen
my
Carter.
gosh. Yeah.
He's dude. Saquon, everybody else, they did great. Jalen Hurts, everybody, right? Nothing. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but Jalen Carter is the only reason why they won that Super Bowl. When he
So much pressure on.
against the Rams, remember that? Do you remember any of the Rams game?
No.
So the Rams game, Eagles go up with a few minutes left in the game, and they should have had that should have been it. The Rams came back, and they almost stole the game at the last second of the match. This is why I give Carter the credit that he deserves. Matt Stafford had the ball. He was throwing it to the right side in the end zone. I think they were in the red zone at the time. Had Jalen Carter by a second, if he was just a second late, didn't disrupt that ball. Like, so what happened was when Stafford went to throw the ball, Carter came in and Stafford got distracted that 1 second, and the ball didn't go clearly to his receiver. Had Carter not been there, Jalen, if he wasn't there,
Yeah.
that was a touchdown, and we would not be celebrating a Philadelphia Eagles championship.
I gotta go back and look at all the games.
Bro, you gotta watch.
I watched the Super Bowl one like 5-6 times already. I even watched the condensed game without the commercials and stuff.
Oh yeah,
Like an hour and a half ish or something.
oh, what'd you watch on the network?
Yeah, I think it was on YouTube.
On YouTube? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so when I look at that team, Saquon did great. Jalen Hurts did great. I like Jalen. Remember Jalen Hurts was trying to still kick them down, the Chiefs, but he's still trying to win, trying to score more points. I give them all credit. I give the wide receivers credit. Truthfully, it's Jalen Carter because if he did not do what he did in that Rams game, we would not be talking about the Eagles the way we are today.
Up to the bottom, Nakua to the top. 3rd and 2. Stafford in trouble. He's sacked. Brought down by Jalen Carter.
They gave a free run to the best of the defensive linemen of the Philadelphia Eagles, and there's nobody left.
But to your point, yeah, they got young players, so yes, they're going to be a dominant team. Let's see. And you think anyone in the AFC side scares you?
No, not really.
No? Buffalo? Now that Kansas City is not the dominant ones, and they're not, and Travis Kelce, I know he's playing this season upcoming, I believe, but they're not the same team. Josh Allen.
Oh, he's great.
Last year, even though they lost to KC, Josh Allen, I was telling Jinder this one day, Josh Allen looked more of himself prior to the other years. And I think, I'm not, trying to go against anyone, but like they had Diggs, right? Buffalo did, and he was supposed to be the home run guy for them. But Diggs didn't do it. But once they removed Diggs, that Buffalo team last season seemed really happy, really a team, more of a family than just employees of Buffalo Bills. And they just seemed more in sync. So I think because Kansas City, the way they got their asses handed to them by the Eagles, I think Buffalo now has realized what they need to do to beat Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think they'll come up. I think they'll give a good challenge to the Eagles. I do.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. I would like to watch that match. I just don't know. I think the Eagles will still edge them out because not only do we have Jalen and our receiving, but we got Saquon. And if he plays anywhere near what he played this year.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I mean, credit to the front staff, the front office. to the
Oh,
Eagles,
yeah,
the
yeah.
scouts, they keep finding players who are solid and
Yeah.
fit in the system.
Yeah. That's a lot of
That's tough.
that goes a lot of credit to Howie Roseman.
Howie Roseman, yeah.
Yeah, that goes a lot of credit to him for being the way he is and how much he's learned throughout the time. And like now he knows basically what players he wants to look at, who he wants to bring in, and then restructuring contracts to keep other players and or bring in a top player. They brought Saquon here, so Howie does definitely get a lot of credit
Yeah,
over all this. So,
I
so
agree.
does Jeff Lurie, just because he's the owner, he's paying the checks. He's kept Howie around. He actually after that whole Chip Kelly
That was an
fiasco.
experiment.
Yeah, that whole fiasco. Jeff Lurie still went back and still trusted Howie, and Howie grew up and now he's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we have two different coaches for two different Super Bowls,
Yeah, that's
two different
right.
quarterbacks,
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's
right?
right. Yep, correct. Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, guys, thank you for coming on and listening to this episode of 5 with my brother over here, Dr. Manjit Singh. I'll be coming back on next week with another episode. Thank you guys for joining in. Today we talked about some medical stuff a little bit. We touched base on that, but mostly NBA and the NFL. I promise you guys I'm going to bring him on. He'll come back on sometime soon when his busy schedule opens up. I mean, he has 2 kids, right? They're running around. That's fine. They're running around on him. I don't want to say more, but but he'll be back on soon, so we'll bring him back.
yeah.
But thank you guys for joining us and tune in again to the Inder Bains show. Have a great day.